here on the After Schrock. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about on the After Schrock today. Usually I've got a lot of leftover stuff that I haven't gotten to, but we'll see what comes out here. All right, so we're going to give everyone a few minutes to get joined up while we stall for just a moment. Uh, Sorry that we have to start a new Facebook Live for the Aftershock every week. So you can find it in the same place. Though, if you have trouble finding the Aftershock, you can actually get a notification when we go live on your Facebook feed, on your notifications feed, if you follow Schrock Innovations. You have to follow Schrock Innovations. Not just like it, but click follow, and then you'll get a notification. So it's pretty cool. Also, there's a little post on our Facebook feed just down, if you scroll down a little bit further, asking you to please go to our YouTube channel and uh, subscribe. So if you have a Google account, it's really easy to do. You just click on subscribe. So you go there, you click subscribe, and you're done. But we need to have, I think it's 10 subscribers on our YouTube channel. This is something we normally don't do a lot with YouTube, but we've talked about how on Facebook, the quality of the video, like right now, the quality of the video on my camera, I am crystal clear, full HD, everything is awesome. But what you're seeing is less than that by a lot. And there's no reason for that. So we're exploring the possibility of using other streaming sources as the origin source for the stream and then restreaming to everybody else. So we're building up these accounts so that we have, youtube.com/Schrock Innovations, but they won't give you a customized URL until you have 10 subscribers. So I could go back and ask all my staff, go subscribe, and then we'd have 10, but I just figured it'd be easier because the whole objective is to get you guys to subscribe. So if any of you use YouTube or watch YouTube regularly, please do visit, go scroll down because the link is super complicated. Just click the image there. It'll take you to the website and you can click subscribe to the Schrock Innovations YouTube channel, which has all the Schrock shows on it that we normally have on Facebook as well as our website. Same content, just a different way to get it delivered to you. All right. So let me go in here. I'm going to pull the comments up over here so I don't have to read them in like 4-point font. Good morning, Mark. Good to have you. Mitch, great to see you. Two top fans first in. Love it. Hi, Carolyn. Good to see you as well. And Carolyn Lloyd. Do we have both? We have two top fans. I have two Carolyns, and then I have a Kimberly and a Robert. Really, guys? Like we had a whole thing going here. Two, not two. All right. Everybody hear me okay? Audio good? I'm seeing Deborah just sent me something of a Lego guy shaking her phone. So I don't know if that means she can't see me or she can't hear me or what the deal is. I just want to make sure we're sounding good. All right. So stories that we didn't get to. I think. All right, so first off, before we get started, if there's anything in particular you would like me to talk about or like an opinion on, or if you have questions about something with your computer or technology, feel free to ask it now. I'll go through this story I have on Zoom that I didn't get to on the show because it was interesting, but not as interesting as like the AMD story. It was kind of like which one would be more interesting to my listeners. And I thought AMD trying to bring processors back to America is more interesting than Zoom saying that not all conversations are going to be encrypted from end to end. Yeah. So anyway, Zoom just gave free users a little shock by saying your Zoom calls will not be private unless you pay for Zoom. Now the reason they say they're doing this is okay going back in time a few years, going back to Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden was like, you need to use encryption on everything you do. Everything. From point A to point Z. You've got to have it encrypted. You have to have a VPN. You have to have encryption. You got to have this. You got to have that. You have to have this. Just crazy security levels. Levels that most normal people would say, I don't need that. His point was, it doesn't matter what you think you need. Every single thing you do on the internet is permanently recorded by the federal government. Everything you do, everything you type. Now, nobody looks at it, which is what makes it legal. Until they have a reason to look at it, then they can get a warrant and they can go back in time and look at everything you've ever done. So, with that said, Zoom was heavily criticized during the launch of the COVID situation because their video conferences were not encrypted. And you could join a video conference just by having the meeting ID. And so basically people were ward driving meeting IDs, just typing in random meeting IDs until they got one, because it turns out they were also sequential IDs. Whoops, so you could just keep typing bigger numbers and bigger numbers until you get in. And then you're crashing like a board of directors meeting where they're talking about financials. They don't even know you're in the room. And all of a sudden you're hearing and seeing everything there is to hear and see about a company's finances. Or you're crashing a counseling session between a counselor and a patient, or a doctor and a patient. So it was a real security problem. So Zoom took some steps to improve that security. But now they're saying, unless you pay for, if you pay for Zoom, we know who you are. We know this is you and this is your Zoom session. If you don't pay for Zoom, we don't necessarily know who you are, because anybody can use Zoom. Therefore, from a national security perspective, we cannot encrypt your sessions, because the federal government would not be able to listen to them and would not be able to identify you. It's a pretty flimsy line. So here's the thing. So, number one, encrypting sessions costs money, because encrypting data and sending encrypted data takes more time than sending unencrypted data. Therefore, if you're dealing with how many concurrent sessions you can stream at one time, if you're securing all of them, you need more infrastructure. You need a bigger pipe. You need more internet. You need more servers. You need more everything. If you're not securing it, you can get by with less, which is, Zoom was a startup when this started, guys. Like, they were a small time player. And all of a sudden they got lucky and they became the essential service of 2020. And now all of a sudden they've been catapulted to this stardom status. But you see, the problem is nobody's paying for Zoom, because you can go for 40 minutes without paying. And then if they cancel, your first thing in your Zoom session is, if this meeting goes over 40 minutes, I'll immediately launch a follow-up meeting, and they can go another 40 minutes. So it's an inconvenience, but it's definitely not the end of the world. But if you're teaching or doing something professional with it, you probably are paying for it. So Zoom needs more people to pay for Zoom so that Zoom can continue to be in business. So what they're saying now is if you enjoy privacy, you better pay for Zoom. And it's not it's like $100 a year or something, so it's not insurmountable. There are some benefits there. You can stream a lot easier from Zoom if you want to do that. Zoom is really handy for making little videos too, like the videos that I record in my Schrock studio at home. They are using Zoom basically. I have other things I can use, but to be honest, Zoom is just the easiest. You just click it and it pops up thing, and you click record and you do your bit. You click end and it transcodes it and saves it, and it's done. So if you're just doing freeform and consciousness kind of thing, like what I'm going to do for the YouTube link later this week, it's super easy. Now, if I'm going to edit it and do things like that, I'll pull it into a different thing. It's just easy. So anyway, so they're saying that the reason that they're not going to encrypt every session is because they can't identify you. So here's the thing. So what you're saying, Zoom, is if I pay for my Zoom, you'll encrypt my session because you know who I am. But if the reason you won't encrypt my session if I don't pay is because you don't know who I am, and I could be saying, terroristic things, so you won't encrypt my session, therefore I could logically assume that if you do encrypt my session, you have a way of determining what was said in my meeting. Because what would stop a terrorist from dropping $100 of funny money on a disposable card he bought at Walmart to open a year-long Zoom account and have all of his terrorist meetings all in one place and have full encryption? You see how this doesn't work, Zoom? Just be honest and say we can't afford to encrypt every session right now unless we have a significant increase in server equipment. So one of the things that we're not going to give you for free is encryption. That's not being evil. Most people who are using Zoom for like family chats and stuff like that, they're not talking about the state secrets. It's not like they need the encryption. People who are companies and things like that who need the encryption, they'll buy it. Why don't you just be honest and tell people why you want them to do it, rather than trying to hide behind the FBI? Like the FBI says, come on, it's ridiculous. All right. Questions? Who's got something they want to talk about? Let's take a look here. All right. Good to see you, Roger. Roger. We got two Rogers. See, there we go again. After Deborah, we got Roger and Roger. Then we got a Richard and a Keith. Breaking it up again. Audio seems lower than usual. I had to turn it up just to hear. All right. We'll see if anybody else says that too. We're good since we have compute this morning. Thank you, Deborah. Can you please do some research on the World Community Grid? It seems like a good thing to support. I've never heard of it. I'll take a look into it, Ronald. Rich and Cheryl in Council Bluffs. Roy is present. Ronald seems legit enough. All right, let's take a look. The World Community Grid. World Community Grid. IBM's World Community Grid. World Community Grid is an effort to create the world's largest public computer grid to tackle scientific research projects that benefit humanity. Interesting. I'm always leery when people say things that benefit humanity. What if your computer? Oh, I've seen this before. Like, what if your well, not this, but from other places. What if your computer could help solve COVID, for example? So what you're doing is basically allowing them to use your computer your computer's processing capability to perform bits of work on a larger problem. This is what's hilarious, guys. The World Community Grid, this is Bitcoin. This is the exact same thing Bitcoin does. Mind-blowing, right? So, what we have is a big math problem, right? That we want to solve. We want to figure out, here's all the genetic data from the world all thrown together in a bucket. We want to see what genetic thing is allowing people to not get COVID. That's what we want to figure out. All right, so we have to sort through all this data, right? So that means we have to add it all to a database. That takes a lot of processing capability. Then we have to store the database somewhere. That takes a lot of storage capacity. And then we have to run relational analysis of the data in the database, figuring out what the relationship is in the data, which takes an immense amount of computing power. So if each one of these things was a separate mathematical problem, which it is, what Bitcoin is a whole bunch of computers around the world solving a mathematical problem for financial gain. So now the question here is like, what would the financial gain be? Okay, so let's say you take this processing capability for the good of humanity, and you set aside a 10% sliver of the processing capability, and you said this 10% sliver, it can be sold. Access to this 10% can be sold. And how you pay for it is using our World Community Coin. And how do you get World Community Coin, by the way? Well, let me tell you, Jack, here's how you get World Community Coin. You include your computer's processing capability in our problem-solving efforts, and based on how much computing power you are adding to the pool, we will give you World Community Coin, a share of a World Community Coin, for every computational unit you give us to use. So people around the world want to do good. They get their World Community Coin, but they see 10% of this of the processing power is set aside to be used by people who want to purchase it using World Community Coin. So maybe I have a big math problem I want to solve. That's a research thing at a university. And I don't really, it's not going to like make the betterment of humanity. It's for my thesis or something. But I'd really like to be able to, I need a lot of computing power to do this, and I don't have access to it. Maybe I could get that computing power through the World Community Grid if I just had enough World Community Coin that I could buy access to that. So maybe I go out on the secondary market and I find out that one World Community Coin is $1. So I'll go buy it for $1. And now I spend $100, I have 100 coins, and that's enough for me to do my research. And meanwhile, 90% people increasingly will add their computers to this effort to get the community coin, which they can then sell to people who want the community coin and make money. That's how you make money online. And that's how you could solve COVID. And that's Bitcoin. That is exactly what Bitcoin does. Exactly what Bitcoin does. So it's kind of hilarious. That's like an explanation of the economics of Bitcoin all in one place. Except there's no altruistic stuff with Bitcoin. It's all financial. This is a medium of exchange. Bitcoin is a currency. So yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, I've seen things like this before. This is kind of like the natural evolution. You might have heard of like the SETI screensaver, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. They have all these scanners scanning the night sky, picking up all these signals, and they don't have enough computational power to process all the signals and sort them from the static and figure out everything. So what they do is they say, install the SETI screensaver on your computer, and when the screensaver kicks on, we know your computer is idle. You're not using it, and then we'll use your computer's processing capability to sort these signals and everything and analyze them. And then when you come and bump your mouse because you want to use your computer, we'll stop doing that work so that you can use your computer. It was a really similar concept back in the early 2000s. All righty. Rich and Cheryl, thanks for joining us. Let's see. Good morning, Dave. How are you? Good morning, Don. Good to have you. All right. So the pictures. I don't know if I can't share pictures in a live stream. It's weird, but I'll share them on Facebook later. But the pictures of the Des Moines Service Center look pretty good. A couple things were a little messed up. First of all, they didn't build us a center island like the center. If you go to any of our service centers, there's a center tech island in the middle of the room that has the technicians' computers on it, and the technicians are surrounded by bench spots where they fix computers. And if they need to look something up or download something or clock in or whatever they need to do, change the music they're playing on the speakers, they go to the Center Tech Island to do that with the computers. Well, the Center Tech Island is missing from the Des Moines Service Center. It made it into the lease, so it's in the lease, in the addendum to the lease, that you will build us a Center Tech Island, but it didn't make it onto the blueprints for some reason. We didn't approve the blueprints. The blueprints were all done by the builder. So they're going to have to build us an island. But and that's not hard. But the more concerning thing is there's no power or data wires hanging from the ceiling for the center island. That is something that was not in the electrical blueprint or the data blueprint. That's something that's going to have to be added. And unfortunately, I'm not sure that that was specified in the lease. I mean, you'd think if you're going to put an island in the middle of the room, that it would be logical to put power and data to it. The power and data were on the blueprint. We sent them as the sample blueprint. For the Papillion Service Center is what they used as a sample to base it from. So that should all be there, but I didn't see it. So anyway, we got to figure that out. But so I mean, little things like that. That's new construction stuff. But oh my gosh, the list of things that we have to get. Let me pull this up, and I'm just gonna start rattling off. And I know this is incredibly exciting stuff, but I'm just gonna rattle off a little bit of this list so you understand what it is that we are trying to get, that we have to have to build this service center, basically. All right, and so let's just look at communications. This is just the communications gear, just so we can have communications as phones and internet, okay? That's what we need for phones and internet. A server rack, a punch-down panel, a switch, cable modem, a particular ASUS router that we use in the service centers for its security. We need the security camera system, the Wise internet monitored cameras, the patch cables for the rack, patch cables for the benches so we can hook up your computers to the wall. We need a backup battery for the rack. We need a surge protector for the rack. We need a phone system built that we build ourselves. We need 3 IP phones. We need 3 headsets. We need a 48-port switch. I have the switch on there twice, which is good. We'll go ahead and bounce that one out. And the list just got one shorter. And I have the patch cables on there twice. So there we go. Yeah, so basically that's just communications. I mean, like the tools, power supply tester, external DVD drive, M.2 solid state adapter, screwdriver sets, a hammer. Yes, we do need a hammer from time to time, not to fix your computer, but to hang stuff on the wall usually, or to bang something out and that gets dented or something in shipping. Needle nose pliers, regular pliers, tweezers, dental pick set. Yes, we're not working on teeth, but dental pick sets come in very handy for computer repair. iFix separation tools, magnifying glass, soldering iron, spool of solder, solder braid, heat gun, hard drive dock, 25 SATA cables, Molex adapters, Molex to dual SATA, 15 flash drives for various things we have to program those flash drives to do. Then you get into office supplies. And this is not an exhaustive list, guys, but I mean literally, I guess I said 9 pages on air, but we're on 7 pages of stuff that we need to have to open a service center. It is an immense undertaking. So it's really nice that we've got a month here to start just trucking stuff down to Des Moines, because we can't have anything delivered to Des Moines because we don't have anyone there to receive it yet. But we have a huge pile of stuff in the Papillion Service Center, so we're going to be trucking it down to Des Moines and dropping it off there. We're going to stage it and then build it. We'll send the whole staff down there to build it. I like to have the staff that's going to work in the service center actually build their service center. As we did this when we moved too, because it gives the employees in the service center a sense of ownership. Nothing frustrates me more than these kids. So every computer part now comes with a sticker, because stickers. And every sticker needs to be stuck on something, right? No, but they will. They'll stick. They'll line them up. They'll make rows of stickers. How many stickers can I get? Like they're taking scalps. You know, how many can I get? Yeah, there we go. I got all these stickers now. I have a whole field of stickers. This is amazing. And then we come in and we're like, why are there stickers on the walls? We can't peel them off to take the paint off. What are you doing? Oh, I just was going to put the stickers on the wall. Why would you do that? Are you 7? They will. But if they build the service center and they're responsible for putting the monitors on the wall, mounting the TVs on the wall, and setting up the bench spots and putting the patch cables in, making sure everything has a power cord and how we're going to hang those power cords, the amount of pride that the employees take in the service center is way higher. It's cool to have a brand new shop. It's so cool. And everyone in the company gets jealous when somebody gets a brand new shop, because even the second newest shop is 11 years old, because we built a new one, but we moved it, right? So the gear was a lot of the gear, like in Lincoln, we just now in this last move replaced all the monitors on the wall. They were original. They were original OG VGA monitors, the 19-inch monitors that we opened Lincoln with like 19 years ago. Yeah, it was bad. So they just got upgraded to full HD monitors and everything else. Because, you know, some guy comes in with like a 4K system and you plug it into an adapter and it's like, the screen's like, I don't know what to do. So you have to get like a screen from up front, bring it into the back. And then somebody comes in to buy screens and like, where's the 24-inch one? Oh, it's in the back. We're using it on the bench right now. Yeah, that's not good. So we had to replace the monitor. So the new service center is going to have all the nice toys. It's going to be pretty cool. There are no leaves. Oh, I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't think there are any leaf impressions on the floor as there are in Papillion. 28 of them in Papillion, to be specific. Um, yes, I do know exactly how many because I counted them all because I was upset about it one day. Then it became a game. Like, how many leaves can you find in the Papillion Service Center? What tree family is that from? You know. So I have not seen the floor myself yet. So I'm going to go down there this week to the Des Moines Service Center and take a truckload of stuff and kind of eyeball it myself. But yeah. So I don't know if there's leaf impressions, but I don't think there will be. What's more likely to bring in retail business? Bringing in Google's 3-pack maps or being listed high in organic? Okay, great question, Bruce. So this is one of the things that Google has changed recently. Now, if you are included in the map, it's called the map pack. The map pack is a geographic pack. So you will get different results in the map pack based on where you're located. For example, if I'm in Papillion, Nebraska, and I search for computer repair in Omaha, let's say, it's going to list Schrock Innovations as the closest center to me in the map pack because it is the closest center to me. If I do it here from the KFAB studio, it may list some other company as the closest one to me. The map pack doesn't necessarily list the best ones, it lists the closest ones that are considered relevant to your search. So the important factor here is, number one, you can't really engineer yourself to appear in the map pack. You have to make sure that all of your Google Business data is correct. If Google Business asks you for data, you need to complete the data. Because if they're asking for it, they're using that data in their algorithm somewhere to calculate, and having the data is better than not having the data. Having any data is better than a 0. The second thing is you want to try to get a Google Beacon. You have to apply for these from Google. Just Google Beacon. It's a little device that you stick underneath the counter, basically, and anyone who comes in with a Bluetooth phone, it doesn't mark who they are, but it marks a tick that there was a person in there. And that's why when you go to websites and it says the level of busyness, there's a graph there on the Google Business page. This business is typically most busy at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It knows that because of Google Beacon. It knows that's when the most people are in the service center. So it's kind of cool. It gives Google more data points to consider us a more legitimate business. The third thing is when you're talking about organic searching, the number one most important thing in the next year is going to be the experience of your website. So how fast does it load? Let me tell you, if you're hosting on GoDaddy or HostGator or anything like that, you are screwed because your load times are too slow. If you want to check your load times out, you can do that for free. There's a great website called GT Metrics, GTMetrix.com, I think. I'm going to double check that before I post that, because if I get it wrong and it sends you to some adult website, that would be embarrassing, right? All right. Yep. Nope. I got it right. All right. So gtmetrics.com. Gtmetrics.com is a great place that you can put in your URL for your website. So I'll put in AfterSchrockInnovations.com and hit enter, and it will analyze our website. It's analyzing it from Vancouver, Canada, using Google Chrome for desktop, which Google Chrome is the browser most people will be using, 50%. So it's going to use that to do the analysis to measure our loading times. So things you can do to improve your load times are you can get a CDN, a content delivery network. Those cost money and they're a little technical to install, but they will dramatically improve the speed of your website. So you can see right now, we've slipped a little bit. We're down to a C, which is normally, if you're hosting on like GoDaddy or HostGator, you're going to be an F. Normally we're an A or a B. This was a 5.1 second load time on desktop. So that means it took 5 seconds to load the entire Schrock Innovations website from start to finish on a desktop. Now, the load times are going to be different each time you load. So you want to do this several times and take an average. So right now, for example, if I see that we got a C here, it'll tell me what areas we need help with. It'll say that our images are not optimized, but I know our images are optimized. So then it goes down and tells you what images are not optimized. And it looks like a lot of the images that are being hosted from the CDN for some reason are not optimized. So the images on our website are, but the CDNs are not. Server responses from a consistent URL. Okay, so that's unavoidable, and that's impacting our score here, but it's unavoidable, and because we have SchrockInnovations.com and we have CDN.SchrockInnovations.com. And so it's loading from whichever is the fastest depending on your geographic location. So that's not really a negative, that's actually a positive, but GTmetrix marks it as a positive. There's a page speed tab and a YSlow tab. The YSlow tab is Yahoo. This is how Yahoo will see your website, and the page speed tab is how Google will see your website. And if you scroll down the page speed tab, you'll see that just about everything on Schrock Innovations is an A or B. We have a couple small things. The inline CSS could use a little tightening up, and the parsing. We have a lot of JavaScript. There's a lot of automated stuff that happens on the Schrock website based on whether or not you're logged into your Schrock account, based on whether or not you've been to the website before, things like that. So now, if we go back to the home page and I say test my site again, let's see if the testing is the same. This is incredibly exciting for those of you who don't have websites. So to answer the original question, the map pack is important. If you want to place high in the map pack, focus on making sure your Google business profile is perfect, absolutely perfect. And then focus on your experiential factors of your website, how fast it loads primarily, whether it's responsive. It must be responsive. You must have a secure socket layer. It must be considered mobile friendly. See now we got 2 different points difference here when I reran the test. And it says it loaded in 7 seconds this time instead of 5. So it's different every time you load. So load it a bunch of times, take an average, you'll get the idea. So hopefully that answers the question. But once you take care of the Google business thing, and once you take care of the experiential aspects of the website, the third thing you focus on is then the content of the website. You have to have engaging, interesting content. We put up 2 new videos a week on our website, plus anything else we do on Facebook, guys. So I mean, we are constantly cranking out new content for Schrock Innovations and Schrock Interactive. And it helps keep us ranked #1 in the search engines when you search for not just computer repair, but a lot of ancillary terms you might not think to search for. All right, scrolling down the list. Alrighty. Not that we know we're hoping for a residential cheesecake smell though. Wait a minute. Replying to Mark. Hold on a sec. A residual cheesecake smell. Oh, it was a bakery in there before us. So yeah, it would be nice if we could smell pastries when we get in there. That'd be great. Next Sunday is Donald Trump's birthday. Here at the Lake of the Ozarks, they're having a Trump birthday boat parade. I will send pictures. Oh my gosh, I cannot imagine what those boats are going to look like. That's going to be hilarious. Could you explain the label that Facebook is using per your comments during your radio show? Yeah. So basically, let me see if I can find. I'm going to say Sputnik Facebook. So Sputnik is a news agency, Sputnik News, based in Russia. They are widely considered to be controlled by Russia. Right now, for example, they are live streaming Black Lives Matter protests in London. Let's see here. Yep, they're live right now, blah, 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 blah. So if you go to page transparency, so I'm going to link to this right here so you can see it on your pages too, guys. Bear with me just a second. Come on. There we go. So this is where you can see it. So on the right-hand side, there's a box called Page Transparency. So if they ever boost a post, if they ever pay to have a post pushed out, there will be a little flag on it that says this is a state-sponsored news outlet. So you can see here under Page Transparency, Facebook is showing information to help you better understand the purpose of a page. See actions taken by people who manage and post content. Russia state-controlled media. You go on the little information bubble and it pops up. The publisher is wholly or partially under the editorial control of the state. This is determined by a range of factors, including but not limited to funding, structure, and journalistic standards. So there you go. So you can see that that's what the label is. They're just labeling state-controlled media as what it is, state-controlled media. It's a propaganda arm for a government. And you should take that with a grain of salt when you look at the news. There is a reason Sputnik News is covering Black Lives Matter protest in London. There are a lot of bots who are doing everything they possibly can do to spread as much turmoil and chaos as they can based on this event. The Belarusian president urges people to pay attention to who gained from previous pandemics. So conspiracy theories on pandemics. I mean, just anything they can do to throw a monkey wrench into anything. This is called asymmetric warfare. This is warfare without the actual use of weapons. So anytime you can interrupt another nation's ability to function without actually attacking them, you're committing asymmetric warfare. And the Russians, that's their thing. They're very good at it. When you don't have a huge military, you have to be good at it. China is also very good at it. So they're now getting labels, basically. So just a heads up there. Alrighty. Thor, shameless plug for your new store advertising. I will set up all their original online content way back when. Hold on a second. A shameless plug for your new store advertising. I set up all of their original online content way back when for Shane. Just a tidbit of info if you're into non-digital and print advertising in Des Moines area. Iowa Living Magazine and Des Moines City View. Good luck. Well, yeah, KJ, shoot me some information on those. One of the things is we don't usually do a lot of print advertising. I think the only print we've actually done in Omaha in years, we used to do the Hy-Vee register receipt tapes. Those were really effective. But then the prices went through the roof. They wanted like $700 or $800 a month to be on a receipt because the price of paper went up so high. And they couldn't get advertisers to pay that, so they stopped doing it. The other thing we did is bus benches, just billboard advertising basically. But we don't do a lot of magazines. We don't do a lot of print just because it's there and it's gone. It has no permanence. And you have to commit to a long-term frequency for print to work. You can't just run a print ad and expect to get any results off of it. Same thing applies to all advertising, for sure. But with print, at least with like the radio shows, for example, yes, we have to be on week after week after week to get that long-term frequency, but the videos don't go away. I can use them as content on the website. I can take snippets of them and use that in promotional items. It builds an audience on Facebook that we can then remarket to later if we need to. So there's a lot of benefits to that, but we don't get any of those benefits in print. With that said, we are entering a new market in Des Moines, and we are going to be trying to reach as many people as possible with some amazing offers. And we probably will be doing some print advertising during that process. So let us know what you got. Was it just cheesecake? Just a cheesecake bakery? I thought it was. I thought they did all kinds of pastries. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Alrighty. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap it up here? We've been going for a little while. I don't know how long. Where's the counter here? I can't tell. 33 minutes. So this is the time to call for last questions so we can wrap up. If anybody has anything you need, we're open today in the service center from noon until 5. I know a lot of you purchase Safe Upgrade. If you purchase Safe Upgrade and you have not run your Safe Upgrade yet, and you're in a place where you can do it, please do run it now. We really want you to make sure that you are getting the installation and getting what you paid for. And if you allow Microsoft to do it automatically, it's not like you can go back later and install it. And if it blows up in your face and we go back and look and see that you didn't use your Safe Upgrade license, just because you bought Safe Upgrade doesn't mean you have a warranty if Microsoft installs it and blows up your computer. So you want to make sure you run your Safe Upgrade software. Let's see if anybody ran it during the show. Yep, Linda. Linda ran hers. Linda G, if you're watching, you ran yours. You have 2 licenses you purchased for 2 different computers, and it looks like one of the computers you've tried. Well, basically the way we do this is it's telling me you might have problems because you've run it 3 times. So with 2 computers, if you're running it on all the computers and it's run 3 times, that might be okay. Sometimes you have to run it twice, just because Microsoft, especially if you don't reboot first. But if we see 4 or 5 tries on here, you're actually on the list to get a call now from someone in the service center to find out what's going on or if you need any help running your safe upgrade. So yeah, Linda, you're the only person that ran it during the radio show though. So good for you. All right, let's take a look here. Last call for questions. Let's see if anybody had one. And boom. All right, nothing new there, guys. So thank you so much for joining us on the program. I appreciate it. If you do come across any questions or need help, please feel free to hit us up right on our website. You can go to SchrockInnovations.com. There's a chat feature on the website now where you can chat. Sometimes you get me. I do respond to those chats sometimes. Sometimes you get staff. It just depends on who sees it first, basically. And honestly, the staff, if Thor sees it first, that means the staff didn't see it first. So you know how that goes. And I see things pretty quick. I want to get that response. It says typically responds in under an hour. I don't know if it's like, that's not really inspiring, right? And I know when I respond, I'm responding like instantly or as soon as I notice it. Because I don't live, if I'm helping a customer, my phone buzzes, I don't take my phone out in front of the customer and look at it. I help the customer, right? So we do respond as quick as we can. Also, the phones still work. You can still call us, any of the 3 service centers. Of course, shoot us an email. Any way you need to get help, we're here to help you and happy to do it. That's what we do at Schrock Innovations. That's how we earn your trust, and that's how we keep the lights on. So we'll keep doing what we do, and you keep counting on us, and we'll have a great relationship worked out. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great afternoon, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next Sunday for another edition of Compute This.